Hello there, and welcome to Not One for Neutrals. We're going to be starting talking to real life fans of every football club in the 92. And we're going to be starting with Sheffield United, not only because they're my team, but also I've got a little bit to do with this YouTube channel. And let's start by talking to Hal Stewart. How are you doing today, Hal?
Hey Nick, great to be here. Looking forward to talking about the wonderful world of Sheffield United, and everything is rosy and great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah, we've had a great start to the season, but I'm going to be a neutral on this one. So I'm going to be asking you all the questions. I know you're not used to being the one asked the questions. Let's start with the big picture. How would you sum up Sheffield United's season so far without swearing?
Well, I don't swear anyway, as you know. It's been horrendous, and I didn't see it coming, and I'm really sad actually. I know some people have turned to anger to express the way that the season's gone, but I am actually just sad because it was so close. It was tantalisingly close to being brilliant, and by that I mean if we'd got promotion last season, because we could be playing like this in the Premier League, and we probably would be, but at least then we'd be financially set for the next 3 years. So it's actually a disaster, and I'm really fearful because we could go down and be set back 10 years.
Yeah, just off the back of that, I just wanted to ask if the Blades were promoted last season, do you think the new owners would have put their hand in their pocket and made a fist of it? Or do you think it could have been another embarrassing season in the Premier League?
It's a great question. It's one I spoke to our Ollie about off air after we did our match preview. We had a really long chat about exactly this. And we both came to the conclusion that the owners would have been able to sell to further investors a Premier League club. But it's far harder to even try to explain what the championship is to people who don't understand and know anything about football. So I think if we'd gone up, we actually would have had a really good go at it and we would have thrown a lot of money at it. From what I've seen of the ownership group so far, whether that money would have been invested wisely or not, and whether it would actually have worked, who knows? But I do think we would have actually splashed the cash.
Chris Wilder was sacked, Ruben Selles was brought in. Wasn't exactly the best decision from the new owners. What do you think went wrong during Ruben Selles' time at Bramall Lane?
It's really hard to put your finger on one thing. I'm quite concerned that we as a fan base are going to just think any manager that isn't from Yorkshire is going to be a disaster before they've even walked through the door. And we can't think like that because there will be a time in the future where we have another foreign manager and we've really got to back him. Sayers probably tried to do too much too quickly with a group that really knew exactly their roles thanks to one man. And that man's now come back, but a lot of damage has been done in that interim to kind of undo a lot of good work. But I've also got to be realistic and say that there were plenty of times last season where Sheffield United didn't play great, scintillating, free flowing. There we go. Not easy to say. Football. And really only scored one goal. And when your luck's going for you and you're up there, your luck's going for you. But equally, when it's not and you're down at the bottom, you can still kind of play like that, but things will go against you. You'll miss penalties. You'll concede. And the way we're playing at the moment, the way we look, if we let a goal in, it feels like that's it. We're not going to score two. And it's quite dull as well, which is really not what football's meant to be. It is really supposed to be your entertainment away from the drudgery of, for many, the day to day.
Yeah, absolutely. You've just touched on Chris Wilder coming back for a third time. It began with a defeat to Charlton, which I think a lot of Blades fans would have seen as maybe an easy start to life as Sheffield United manager again. Defeat hit. He's seen two more defeats and he's finally got a win on the board. Do you think it was the right choice to bring Chris Wilder back, or would you have liked to see somebody else come through the door?
Chris Wilder is in danger of ruining his legacy. And if you go out like he did, although it wasn't his choice after the playoff final, he would still have left a legend. And a lot of people recognise that that final was interesting, shall we say. I feel like there was nothing wrong with Burrows' second and everything could have been different. And we all know about Kiefer Moore's back pass. But Wilder would have left and many would still have loved him. I feel like now he's in danger of ruining that, maybe through no fault of his own because of the damage that's been done in those off-season months. The Charlton game was a funny one because had we been playing a team that everyone was thinking is like Middlesbrough, for example, that's doing really well, I feel like there would have been less expectation. There was so much heat on that match. Everyone was saying, this is it. Wilder's back. We're going to steamroller them. They've just been promoted. This is great. What a fantastic game for him to come back to. We should win comfortably. And it was so deflating because it felt like after that game, well, this is a much bigger job and nothing's really changed. Okay, we looked a bit better here and there, but it wasn't what many of us had hoped for. It was actually probably the worst kind of game we could have had. And I am genuinely concerned because we are only showing minutes here and there of being a good football team. And how long is it going to take to put 90 minutes together of being a really good football team? And we can do that. And the best football we've ever played in my life was under Chris Wilder. We all remember Ender Stevens nutmegging and the passing. You know, even that Man United game at Bramall Lane, just look at some of the clips from that match. It just shows that this is the same man. He can do it again. But how long is it going to take?
Yeah, and how long will the owners give him? Because they've given the bullet once, they may give him the bullet again. But what do you think is the biggest issue on the pitch right now? We've spoken about some of the issues off the pitch. Transfers have come in. It's a big squad now. But what's going wrong on the pitch?
Creativity. I mean, the midfield is it's like for like. There's too many players that are similar. We don't really have proper wingers. We haven't had proper wingers for ages, so we're not creating. We're only sticking one up top. Sometimes that works, but even back in the Premier League when we finished ninth, Wilder would kind of play two up front. You know, even when we went down to 10 men, it's the same Wilder. I don't really understand why he's now so wedded to one striker. A striker that actually isn't an out-and-out striker. Tyrese Campbell, who's regularly playing there when he was at Stoke, would often play out on the wing or float out onto the wing and have a player alongside him. And Tom Cannon seems like someone who needs someone alongside him. So I don't know how much longer that can go on for. So it's creativity and the fact that you've only got one person who's trying to put the ball in the back of the net.
Do you feel the players are underperforming, or is it about the tactics or the management? Because you've mentioned creativity, which is down to the players and some of the coaching, and obviously the tactics too, with playing a striker up front who may not be an out and out striker.
We're doing it again. We're doing what we did before. So lots of times last season, I kept mentioning non-repeatable actions. It's not training ground stuff that we're seeing. It's moments of magic, which you can't rely on. It's winning a penalty. It's not like free-flowing football. I really got to stop saying that because it's so difficult with my teeth. But it's not the football that we have played before under Chris that I referenced a little earlier. We know he's got that in his locker. I don't know why we're not trying to do that. But actually, I do think whilst you can, when you've got cohesion and team cohesion, it can be a lot about tactics. I'm one of these old school people that thinks football's a really simple game. And you actually, when things are going wrong, you actually do need to simplify it. It's possibly the easiest sport to explain to an alien if they were just to land. It really has been overcomplicated in recent years. And you can put a lot of it down. Yeah, you can say it's tactics, it's this, it's that. The players are not playing as well as they can because on paper, I still believe we're a top four team. And we just need to get some confidence into the group. Chris should be good at that. Alan Neil should be good at that. Matt Prestridge should be good at that. They've all been there before. They all know what they're doing. And I'm sure they're working to do that. Maybe it's just taking a little time. Maybe more damage was done than we realise mentally, as well as with some of the signings.
Talking about some of the signings, do you think that the squad right now, on paper, is stronger than the squad from last season? There's no right or wrong answer to this. I just want your opinion.
I'm including a fully fit Tom Davies. I'm including Ollie Arblaster in my thoughts there. But no, because I think Harry Suter was huge. I think Vinny Souza has been a tremendous loss. Missed so much of his ability, kind of in both boxes. I know he wasn't a goal scorer, but he would actually help in offensive ways. But really, it was about what he did at the other end, breaking play up and letting the other creative players like Gus Harmer do their work. I think we're really missing him, probably more than we realised. And I think Peck was playing better with him alongside him. So no, I don't think we're a better squad. I think some areas are a bit stronger. We've got more quality width again on paper. We're not necessarily seeing it, but we really are lacking creativity and natural goal scorers.
So talking about the recruitment, how much responsibility do you put on the board and on the recruitment? Because, if you don't think there's as much quality there, why haven't the board backed? Well, I suppose it's Sayers, not Wilder, because Wilder wasn't in charge. Why do you think they've not backed him enough with enough quality and acted quick enough? Because I know that it took a while to get some of these signings through the door.
I think they have backed. I mean, if you look at how much money we've actually spent, it's not a small amount. It's not enough really to try and do what we are hoping to do, but we just don't know how much they've got. Remember, they might have been a little bit once bitten, twice shy with Tom Cannon. Spending a huge amount of money. I know it's not exactly 10 million, and that's sort of with add-ons, but there's still, it's a big figure, whatever we spent, because at the moment he's not looking like the Tom Cannon that does actually exist. You can only look back at some of his highlights from his time at Stoke. There is a player in there. They're probably thinking, well, why is this not working? And actually, you see a lot of players when they leave Sheffield United. We've got that Manchester United complex at the moment. We sell a player and they suddenly become the player that we always thought they were. There's so many examples. Most recent one being Reece Norrington-Davis. QPR fans are telling me he's absolutely fantastic. Now, I've always rated him, and before that injury, I thought he was a really decent player. After that, I think he needed a change. He needed something to just change from. Sometimes change is as good as a rest. New scenery, and it seems to have been the case. So I think that they have backed, but they've gone about it in a very strange way. Initially, they went with that kind of data-driven AI approach. Now, I don't mind what you do. It's your club now. It's your plaything. But I do believe you've got to stick with the courage of your convictions, right? If that's your way of doing it, then stick to your guns. Do it that way. If it doesn't work, fine, you've had a go. But not this kind of scattergun approach where we started doing that and then we went, hang on, this isn't working. It's really early on in the season. Let's go for old pros, because that's the entire opposite way of doing it. There's no middle ground. So I feel like with anything in any walk of life, whatever your belief is, stick to it. And you know what? It'll either work or it won't, because this way of it's neither here nor there, well, that definitely isn't going to work. So I've been really disappointed. I think the recruitment was kind of all over the place. I am not against data-driven, Moneyball style the way approaching sport. I like a lot of sports. I've seen it succeed in Major League Baseball. I've seen it in some degree succeed in the NFL. It's a bit harder to do it there. But if you're going to do it that way, stick to it. And if you're not going to do it that way, and I don't actually think necessarily that was the way to do it this season, because this was a season where we just actually needed to add a tiny little bit. I think there was quality there. We finished third. It didn't need massive change. You knew you were probably going to lose Anel and Vinny, but it just needed to be players that we lose, replace with quality, add a little bit more quality. Not necessarily signing players for the future, because the future is now. We need to get promotion.
And obviously, it's frustrating that Sheffield United have lost so many games this season. Won one, no draws, and lost a lot, including one in the League Cup against Birmingham. How worried are you about relegation right now? Because relegation wasn't even in the rearview mirror.
If Sheffield United get relegated, we will have undone so much good work. We've historically missed great opportunities, and we finished ninth in the Premier League. What we did in that summer was the biggest summer of our entire history. If we'd got it right, we would currently be like, I think, Aston Villa. We would be where they are and doing what they're doing. I really do believe that. We got it massively wrong. So this time we need to get it right again, and really we need to go up. Now we're so far off the eight ball now that I actually think promotion, whilst it is achievable mathematically, it would be some hell of a run. Now, of course, we could go on that run. International break, while they're getting his ideas across, confidence coming back into the group, it could happen. We could go on a really incredible run. We've seen other teams do it. It is possible. I don't necessarily see that happening just because we look so devoid of ideas. But if we go down, we will be in real trouble. I actually think that the ownership group might lose interest if we go down, and then we could be in, serious trouble, because it's not an attractive proposition then, selling the club, and they'll want to make money on it. Of course, if you go into the Premier League and you flip it and sell it, which may have been their idea, I don't know, you'll make a huge profit. So we can't go down. It's just inconceivable. It would be a huge disaster. The rebuild would take, I do genuinely believe, 10 years.
Wow. The other thing that I was going to mention was Prince Abdullah has sold the club at the exact right time, hasn't he, here? Because Sheffield United were extremely close to promotion last season. He sold the club around January time, and since then, fallen off a cliff. So Prince Abdullah's cashed out his chips at the right time, hasn't he?
Yes, but I don't know if he hadn't sold, I don't think we'd necessarily be in this position. I also think that this is really hurting him. I don't think he'll get any pleasure from what is happening at all, because I know how much he loves, and his family now love Sheffield United. I don't think they did initially. I think it was just something to get involved with. But he really has fallen in love with the club. So this will be really hurting him. And he will not care one iota about the right timing. Would have been very interesting if he hadn't sold. I think we all know why. I think he's got, up here, I think he's got the incredible football brain. He just recognised that he didn't have the funds to take Sheffield United to the next level. And we know that you need the kind of ridiculous money to take to nowadays to compete in football. You need billions. So he recognised that, and actually for the good of the club, he thought he'd try and find the right people. It's always your legacy, unfortunately, as an owner, is who you sell to. Really, it almost doesn't matter what you've done in your tenure. If you sell to the right people, fantastic, shake hands, thank you very much, you're always welcome back. If you sell to the wrong people, and as a Sheffield United fan since the 80s, we've had some truly horrendous owners. It makes a big difference for what happens on the pitch. I don't know enough yet about this ownership group, and it's because they are a group that it's hard to know, because it's just names, and we've seen very little from them.
Yeah, I'm jumping around here a little bit with my questions because I just thought I'd just get your thoughts on the Prince Abdullah thing because I know that you know Prince Abdullah quite well. So I thought I'd just jump in there with that question. But going back to talking about the season, you touched on it earlier. Is promotion a distant memory, or is there still a glimmer of hope that Sheffield United might get to sixth place?
Got to go on a heck of a run and then do some serious surgery in January, and I mean outs almost as much as ins. There are players here that I don't rate, and I don't normally say that because I'm normally one that tries to back the boys. But I've seen some performances that have left me seriously questioning the desire. There are some players that really care, and it clearly hurts them. And there are some that I don't know what's happened. Really good players. Cooper, Burrows. I think Peck's going to become a really good player, but they're shadows of themselves. Why is that? Are they playing with knocks that we're not hearing about? Has something happened off the pitch with any of them? I mean, it's really hard to know sometimes. Harmer as well. What's going on? And maybe because they're not playing as they were, will they get it back? You have to assume they will. You have to hope so. But if not, you could make a huge sum on some of those players, reinvest it wisely after having a little run before January, and suddenly everything looks completely different. If it is invested wisely, and it actually probably does need to be proven players, not so much ones for the future. Zatterstrom, for example, might become a really great centre back, but if he's not getting game time, well, he's just another name on a piece of paper.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. He's gone from Malmo, playing for Malmo, to Championship football at the bottom. So I'm not sure whether he's thinking that's a great decision right now. But despite the poor start, have you any reasons for optimism right now?
I mean, you're getting me at a pretty low ebb. I was genuinely sad after the whole game because there was some green shoots, but not enough. Are we better than Hull? Yes. Did we play better than Hull? Yes. We're better on paper, but we still lost. So that really makes me worry. If you are playing better, but the results are still the same, well, you'd have to be insane to say that things are going to turn around. If you're playing badly and still losing, you kind of go, well, they just need to start playing well. Well, we started playing a little bit better and are still losing. So I'm really worried. Really worried. We're going to have to play a lot better. And we're going to have Lady Luck finally arrive because she's been missing probably since the playoff final after Burrows' goal was disallowed. We have not seen a second of Luck.
Yeah, you got to make your own luck as well, haven't you? So I've got a big question for you. This is a question I'm going to be asking everybody that I interview. Where do you think Sheffield United will finish come May? And I know you love doing predictions, Hal.
Well, I made myself look foolish by pre-season prediction of automatic promotion. Now, I said that before we'd even started our transfer business proper. Had I seen it, and I said this to you a few times, didn't I? I said that I need to see which way we're going to go. Now I'd say, sadly, it's probably going to be about 12th at best. Comfortable mid-table. Sheffield United fans will take that now. Sadly, I will take that now. And we try and regroup and go again. But we would lose a lot of players in the summer. And next season could be more of the same. Ideally, you go on a kind of Ian Dowie Crystal Palace run, you finish sixth, and you take it from there. Because I do believe that this group will be able to get investment once they're trying to sell a Premier League team. Hey, get involved with this, guys, in Silicon Valley. It's the Premier League. You've heard of that.
I think it's a long time since Sheffield United fans would have been happy with mid-table because Sheffield United have been such a yo-yo club in the last few years. It's either trying to stay in the Premier League or trying to get promoted. So obviously this start's not been great for the Blades, and hopefully it gets better for you. And I'm gonna obviously me as well because I am not just a neutral. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining me, Hal. I really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully it gets better for the Blades.
It feels like a nightmare. Wake me up when this is over. Cheers.